Jai Guruji. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji Aunty.
I just
You
wanted to
can
make
please
sure
start the
that,
reading.
yes, thank you so much. Jai Guruji and Jai Guruji to all the Sangat who has joined. I shall start by expressing my gratitude to Shukrana Guruji Maharaj, the multilingual team, and Suresh Wasan Uncle for the opportunity to be a part of this reading of the very, very precious blessing, The Divine Pathways, penned by our very dear Kamlesh Mehta Aunty. And a grand thank you to Guruji Maharaj for inspiring and guiding Kamlesh Aunty yet again to pen what we know and have amongst us as divine pathways. For as much of the divine pathways as I have read, I see it as a beautiful compilation, as words defining the path of truth and by the truth, words inspiring the path of devotion with such devotion, and words guiding us to stay the course on the path of love with immense love. Truly, every thought shared radiates Guruji's love and divine energy that I have felt. Thank you, Guruji Maharaj, and thank you, Kamlesh Aunty, for this wonderful, wonderful gift. I shall begin the reading with a prayer that may Guruji's grace be upon all of us to imbibe all that he wishes us to imbibe through this reading. Jai Guruji. Switch to the chapter, All That Permeates Him. Wherever there is love, there is life. Whenever there is no love, life is worthless. Actually, a man is not a true man unless he has within him the divine spark of love. God, in the form of love, is within everybody. Those whose eyes are open see all human beings as the manifestation of God, like rays of the sun or the waves of the ocean. They know that the same spark of love has created them all. Therefore, who can be low or who can be high? Men in different positions in life and in different countries, be they yogis, sannyasis, brahmacharyas, Hindus, or Turks, are all one in his eyes, and difference in caste, creed, or country can never be of any importance to those who possess the quality of love. There is one God in heaven and one family on earth. Guruji says, quote, the current of love from one God is flowing through the entire universe. When do you think, when you look at the face of a man, look at him carefully. He is not a man, but a current of the essence of God, that is love, which permeates him. Unquote. With folded hands, acknowledging the grace of Almighty and bowing down to Guruji's lotus feet. Next chapter, Guruji's bliss. Quote, if we do Simran lovingly and affectionately without visualizing the form of the Master, the form itself will come there and start dwelling within us. It is a natural practice. You know that if you remember anything, you will start seeing or feeling that thing is in your mind. In the same way, if we do the Simran given by your perfect master lovingly and affectionately, then his form will start coming within us by himself and we will have it. If we're making any effort on our side, we are trying to visualize the form of the master, then we won't be able to be successful because we won't be able to visualize only the eyes of the master, sometimes only his chin. And in that way, our meditation will be distributed and we won't be successful. So it is better to just do the Simran lovingly because it will remember the master lovingly. Quote unquote, he will start coming within us by himself with folded hands, acknowledging the grace of Almighty and bowing down to Guruji's lotus feet. Next chapter. Give me just a second, please. My apologies. Next chapter. Conversation with Waheguru. Waheguru will not ask you if you memorized Simran. He will not ask how many times you recited it. He will not ask how many times you chanted. He will not ask how many turbans you wore. He will not ask you about clothes. He will not ask you if you remember his face. He will not ask you whether you learned his Sakya. He will not ask you if you saw his paintings. He will not ask you if you preserved his clothes and maintained his preserved artifacts. He will not ask you if you profess a belief in him. What he will ask is, were you truthful? Did you perform responsible actions and meditation? Internalize the teachings, truly meditating on the inside. Does not have a form, meaning someone who has internalized the teachings may be seen to repeat jap or may be seen to draw things, or he may not do either and sit in silence, or he may fight battles. There is no set of behavior you can copy to become an enlightened being who is truthful, responsible being who is truthful, responsible, and meditative. It is a shift in perspective. If the shift takes place within, and yes, it does manifest outwardly, but the manifestation can be vastly different for different people. There must be sensitivity to life. When there is some sensitivity, then only painting, but aspect of your life itself will elevate your soul, acknowledging the grace of Almighty with folded hands and bowing down to Guruji's lotus feet. The next chapter, the third eye. No aim can be greater than the wish to be changed from the limitations and miseries of a transient human being into the eternal joy of the perfect one. It is not difficult for the quote unquote guru to take a soul upward, but premature uplifting causes harm. Just as a fine cloth spread upon a thorny hedge, it is torn to pieces if suddenly pulled away, so too the soul, quote unquote, entangled in the thorns of karmas, which, quote unquote, permeate every cell in the body, must be gradually purified by the Master's love, that is, our Guru's love. By his grace, the soul is freed from these quote unquote thorns, and the quote unquote karma is slowly shifted out from every cell in the body. You will get everything you wish, things more wonderful and remarkable than you ever dreamed of. He who has to give you all is sitting inside in the third eye. He is waiting for the cleanliness of your mind and watching your every action. The repetition of the mantra jap should be performed with love and faith. Fix your attention in the eye center, that is, without putting any pressure on the eyes, and keep in one position if possible, so that you become unconscious of the body below the eyes and the attention does not wander from the eye focus. Try to enjoy the exercise. There is no doubt we are weak and have neither faith or love. But there is one hope to sustain us, that he may take pity on and forgive our sins. We have taken refuge at his quote unquote holy feet. Deservedly or undeservedly, we are his children. Therefore, it behooves you to perform your devotions every day without fail. Do not engage in discussion with others, but go on pursuing the path while attending to the daily business of life with peace and precaution. The Guru, our master, is ever ready to help, quote unquote, his children. Next chapter, enlightenment. Enlightenment, you just need to nurture your mind. Take care of yourself right now. Let things clear out of your mind. Don't hold on to what needs to exit. Don't force anything to stay the same. It's all about change and growth. Release and let go. Reorganize and reprioritize what you value. You have to start taking care of your inner self. At the end of the day, it's about you loving yourself. It's you who has to make sure that you are okay. It's you who has to hold yourself together. It's you who has to decide to keep going. No matter what's challenging you or testing you, don't overthink it or overreact to it. Find a balance somewhere within you where you stop playing these games with yourself, where you get so caught up and pulled into something that only leaves you drained. Know everything deserves your energy. Remember, your attention is very valuable. Your thoughts are very valuable. Your emotions are very valuable. Where are you spending your valuable energy? Is it worth it? Is it adding on to your life? Is it moving you forward? Be real and be honest to yourself. Only you know your inner world. And if your inner peace, mental wellness, and evolution is your priority, then you'll laugh at situations that try to test you or pull you in. You're no longer playing that game with yourself or others. You're moving forward to a new state, a new mindset, a new world within yourself where you finally thrive instead of reaching every second. At the beginning, it might feel like you're getting pulled in, but you're only learning. You're discovering that you have the power and control of self. You have the choice every minute how to respond. You decide what happens next. So practice stepping back and observing. Practice seeing things for what they truly are. You'll realize it's not worth in to get mentally and emotionally caught up. We always regret when we spend too much energy into saying things we don't mean. This is meant to help you refine your inner self so you have more self awareness to do and be greater as a human. Choose your inner peace every single day with folded hands, acknowledging the grace of Almighty and bowing down to Guruji's lotus feet. The next chapter, spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is a process towards enlightenment. Starts early. The period between the ages of 6 and 20 is so intense and overwhelming that we're completely lost in the illusion of materialism and selfishness. In childhood, before the mind passes into a conditioned state, we're very sensitive and we experience all that life has to offer. It is very common for people to reach adulthood with severe depression, anxiety, fears about life, self, and the future. When we start a spiritual practice such as meditation and invest in faith and trust, we begin to see the real investment in our reality. And this reality is not so different from our childhood. We become more confident because we have a sense of knowledge and understanding of our lives. Nothing is more satisfying than knowing how to think about things, even when we find it difficult. We begin to see things more clearly, which allows truth to manifest in our heart and mind, and the selfish illusion of everyday life does not bother us anymore. All the abilities we had during our childhood are starting to return to us in adult life. By allowing you to become more in tune with yourself and the universe, self realization is important to your spiritual evolution. At the same time, there are also some negative aspects that may occur during our journey on the spiritual path. Awakened souls are instinctively drawn to each other. When they meet, it's an encounter like no other because these people are able to identify similar frequencies in no time. If you are an awakened person, you are well aware that it's not a problem to precisely pinpoint, even in the bigger crowd, the people who match your vibration. Some of them have already completed their awakening process, if that's even possible, but others are just at the drop, I'm sorry, but others are just at the dawn of their enlightenment journey. When you noticed someone who got stuck the way of their awakening process, you might feel compelled to help them out. But it is a completely natural reaction, but it doesn't always mean that it's the best decision. So be careful with it. Sometimes people need to go through hurdles and hardships to learn crucial karmic lessons. The following checkpoints represent stepping stones to a better and more fulfilled life. If you went through the process of awakening, you had probably stumbled upon most, if not all, of these, and if not, they will give you insight on the things that might follow. Don't rush yourself through them. Take your time and pay close attention because if you skip any, it will get back to it will get you right back at the starting point. Awakening is never ending process, but there are common occurrences or checkpoints that will take place. These events slowly transform person's life. If you're on your journey of awakening, you have to go through these 11 stages. Stage 1, confusion. At this stage, you feel a bit lost, like a ship without compass. Things seem monotonous, dull, and lifeless. It, if confuses you, you will be at loss of words and afraid of moving forward in life. Stage 2, restlessness. You are happy with where your life is going. It makes you feel restless and frustrated. All, I think I made a mistake. It was you are not happy with where your life is going. It makes you feel restless and frustrated. All of a sudden, the burning desire for change that you have been trying to keep dormant for such a long time has been exploded, giving your awakening process a momentum. The idea that your life is your own responsibility starts to come out. You do everything to take it back into your own hands. You realize that your own happiness is not dependent on people or any external circumstances. Your intention is to get your power back, activities, your energies, your chakras, and your soul. Awakening has begun the moment you open your eyes. Stage 3, Epiphany. This phase is emotional roller coaster ride. Life is not the same anymore. All the colors shine a bit brighter. All the smells are stronger. You start to experience ecstatic emotions like bliss, euphoria, and freedom. But despite all this, pain is still present. With folded hands, acknowledging the grace of Almighty and bowing down to Guruji's lotus feet. Next chapter. Experience seems overwhelming. Experience seems overwhelming. Don't confuse a bad chapter of your life with the end of the story. One bad experience doesn't define you. One negative judgment doesn't define you. You can't let one bad moment spoil a bunch of good ones. When the bad seems overwhelming and it's taking over your thoughts, take a moment to think about what the good things are. For me, in my situation, I think about all the wonderful things in my life. When I think about these things, the one bad thing seems a lot less important. No matter what the situation or what happens, that thing or action or thought or arrangement of words is not you. You are you. Whatever the bad thing may be, no matter how it feels, it doesn't have to take away from the person you are. Bad things happen to everyone, but it's our reactions to them that can really bring us down, that can totally transform our world. Look for the lessons in the bad. When something bad happens, it's so easy to want to give up, to throw in the towel and say, quote, this is just too much work, unquote. But don't do that. Realize first all of the good things in the situation and then see that you can learn from the bad things. There's always a lesson. If you don't look for it, we're missing out. No matter what the situation, an argument, a negative thought, a terrible event, we can gain knowledge from that, move forward with that knowledge in hand. Bad things happen all the time. You'll mess up a big project. You'll get into a fight with your spouse, and you'll have to deal with people who make you unhappy. It happens. That doesn't mean that the situation is any less wonderful. One bad thing doesn't have to be the focus. Remember, you have to be the power to choose what you focus on. You can choose to let one negative thing take over, or you can center your thoughts on the positive and look for all the good in the situation. The most important thing I have learned is that no matter what, I am not giving up on what I love, and I and shouldn't either. Don't let the one bad ruin all the good. Next chapter, telepathy. Telepathy has now conclusively proved heartstring between individuals play in unison, irrespective of the distance between the two. There is tremendous power in thought, vibrations, and their range is unlimited. It's not the coming into the being of the countless universe and their dissolution, the result of some thought, force. if we may be permitted to use the face as indicative of God's will. This wonderful relationship one can establish with God. By being in tune with the infinite, one can, by force of the thought, do a lot of good to others, as at bottom, all are embedded in the same soil, the divine ground. At all time, we are living a sensual life and have known that there is another side of picture as well, life beyond the senses. Most of our prayers are, therefore, of temporal nature, and if they were granted without any exception, we would naturally sink lower and lower in the scale of more and more day by day. When the disciple remembers the Guru, that is the Master, he experiences within him a soothing influence and a sort of divine intoxication. This is known as telepathy, sympathetic communication from heart to heart, a distance. When two hearts work in unison, they operate with the same vibration as in telepathy. Such a disciple naturally gets from the master his own impulses. With folded hands, acknowledging the grace of Almighty and bowing down to Guruji's lotus feet. Jai Guruji, this concludes the planned reading for today. Uh, Apologies for errors in utterances. So please forgive me for that. And thanks again for this opportunity to read this beautiful, beautiful book, Divine Pathways. Thank you, Guruji, and thank you, Kamlesh Aunty, once again. Jai Guruji.
Thank you, Neelam